Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show for Tuesday, June 30th. We're going to be going over today's news headlines. Also, we'll have press conference from Jonathan Terrell. He's going to be the new Nicholls State athletic director. They announced him yesterday, so we will play that press conference back in its entirety here on Sportscaster today. So we are going to in this hour. So that's going to start up in just a few minutes. So once again, thanks for joining us here. We will set up the video chat links for today's show. So let me go ahead and set that up for you. So if you want to come in and video chat with us, you can come in through StreamYard. Also for Twitch as well. You can come in as well on the Twitch side. So we will see where. So hold on one second. We'll get to the Twitch side. We'll see what's in. Also, we'll send it over to Twitch, the Twitch area as well. Everything is in the Twitch. Also, Twitch and see if I can put my cameras down so you can see me a little bit better. I know it's a low. Okay, everything's on the screen, Twitch, and also Sportscaster. So let's begin with our first topic of the day. We'll go over to the Nicholls State press conference. Jonathan Terrell was named the athletic director for the Nicholls State University athletic program. So we will go ahead and play this for you. So once again, thanks for joining us. So let's get this up on the screen. So we are going to begin in just a second. So let's see who's in Sportscaster. So if we see anybody in there, so we're getting ready to start. So
thank you. I was telling JT right before this I needed a win.
Anybody in there, so getting ready to start.
I want to welcome the Terrell family who's here. Just a wonderful family of Thibodeau and all the extended family who came in for this. Before I get started, I want to thank Miss Lindsay McCaskill for filling in a very difficult time as interim athletic director and chairing the search to find our new athletic director. She did an absolutely remarkable job under very difficult circumstances to keep the athletic department intact while running the search for this position. She left only one thing unfinished. Lindsay, you know what that is? That net. I've been asking her to replace that net. I've said it before to Matt Rowe, an athletic director doesn't win a single game. The single most important characteristic in an athletic director, in my opinion, is judgment. With student athletes, with fans, with alumni, with supporters, and with coaches. It's the AD's job to find the right coaches and provide those coaches with the right support for student athletes to be successful on the field, on the court, and in the classroom. Jonathan Terrell, or JT as we know him, is that person. He combines superior judgment with a history of success on the field, off the field, and an unmatched passion for Nicholls State University. Nicholls Athletics is in a great position. In the last 3 years, our programs have won Southland championships and made the NCAA playoffs. In the classroom, our student athletes just posted their highest or best cumulative GPA in Nicholls history. Ticket sales have been rising year over year, and last summer we announced the largest donation in school history to renovate and expand the Barker complex. From the outset of this search, JT separated himself as a person who could continue this momentum. He has a plan to move athletics further up the echelon of collegiate sports, and he has a love for and commitment to this university to see that plan through. As a president of the First Down Club and the Huddle Up Club, and an active member in the Colonel Athletic Association. Someone asked me, who's going to volunteer now? JT has been a fundraising gem for Nichols Athletics for more than a decade. Our players are excited, our coaches are excited, our community is excited, as you can see from the crowd here. My wife Allison is excited, and I am very excited and honored to welcome Jonathan Terrell, our next athletic director.
Wow. So first of all, I would like to say to God be the glory, because I know that I stand here because of him. Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Kloon, the search committee, Lindsay, for all you've done. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for giving me this opportunity. I'm overcome with emotion, so just in case you don't know, I'm a big crybaby. So let's get that out the way first. I stand here today as the athletic director of Nichols State University. To stand here today is an honor and a privilege. There's a lot of history about today, but looking ahead, today is all about continuing the climb of our athletic department. This job is so special to me because I left Slidell, Louisiana at the age of 18 years old and was blessed enough to be adopted by this community as one of their own. Not often do you attend a university that makes a stamp on your life like Nichols State University has done to me and my family. To be able to give back and work for a place that holds such a special place in your heart and that you have so much passion for is extraordinary. I say this a lot about Nichols State. It's a one-of-a-kind place. It's unique. It's a diamond being polished. The people in this department are hard workers and put student athletes first. I am proud to be a part of this department that instills the importance of academic excellence. Everything I've been through in my life has led me to this point. I have never taken the easy road to get here. I was a young married man with a child playing college football and had to support them. And before I go on any further, I would like to thank them. Thank you to my wife, Taryn, for always standing beside me and believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. I want to also thank my original colonel, Caitlin, my son-in-law, Darius, my daughters, Megan and McKenna, and last but not least, my caboose, Jacob. Thank you to my parents for being leaders and for being the best parents I can ask for. Today is special. It's the 57th wedding anniversary. Is why I picked today to stand before you as athletic director. So happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Thank you. I also want to thank my in-laws, siblings, nieces, and nephews, and the rest of my family for such constant support. I love you. There's so many people who have had a hand in helping me get to where I am today. I am so thankful for each of them. But there's a special thanks. I want to say a special thanks to Brandy Pontiff for your leadership and continued support as a former boss and as a friend. I hope to lead as you have done so successfully. I am forever grateful for you taking a chance on this little football coach, pharmaceutical salesman, because of my blue scrubs turned doctor, and now an athletic director. I appreciate you more than you know. So as I said before, I've been around here quite some time as a player, then a coach, then a fundraiser, but always a true Colonel fan. My daughter Megan plays soccer, my nephew Tyrese plays basketball. So I firsthand know the importance of alumni and community support. There are so many great players and coaches who have come through Thibodeau and have left their mark on the program, and it's time to get them back involved in the department as a whole and reach further than just Thibodeau and Houma. We have to spread our reach and get past the tri-parish area. We have a lot of alum that came to this great university. Now's the time for us to continue to climb and keep propelling our programs forward. I am never content, and I don't take no as a final answer. Ask my mom and dad. You hear me say the climb often, because it's what we would do. Matt Rohn left a great thing when he left us on the path that he's left us on. So when I talk about the climb, I need you to understand this. The C is for championships, on and off the field. The L is how we will lead, with best interests of student athletes and all programs. The I stands for integrity, and I'll let that speak for itself. The M is for movement, growing the department financially through our brand and advance opportunities by being creative in our unique landscape. The B is for bedazzlement, bringing impressive excitement through all programs, through every achievement. If we keep this as our vision throughout the whole department, then we will be one team with one goal, making strides for the future of all our student athletes. The process starts with our department, but goes far beyond. The process is about people and relationships. Cultivating relationships is something that we have to do and continue to do, and it's what brings our community so close together. To the student athletes, it starts with you. We have to build a foundation of support of one another, because each of you share a uniqueness that nobody else understands as a student athlete. To the athletic department and all coaches, I will build a rapport and a relationship with each of you. I will never ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. I will make a commitment to give you every opportunity to be successful. But again, remember, this is not JT's athletic department. It's a collective effort, and we have a brand to represent, which is Nicholls State University. Finally, to the community and alumni, I am so grateful for all the support, but I can't do this alone. I will be a great representative of our university, and I will reach out to you for support of our student athletes and programs to give them the experience of a lifetime. As I paraphrase President John F. Kennedy, everybody thought this was so funny. Ask not what Nicholls Athletics can do for you, but what you can do for Nicholls Athletics. I have said it before and I'll say it again, one team, one goal is the only way we will continue to climb together. I don't know if everyone has Twitter. Y'all know I'm late on all the social media stuff, but I think I'm pretty cool because I do have Twitter now. And on last Friday, I asked that everybody join the CAA. I was serious. So please join the CAA. Support all athletics. This is our brand. This is our future. We will continue to climb, and we'll be reaching out to you. And again, thank you for believing in me and making my dream come true. I can't wait to start. July 6th is my official start date. But if you know me, I started last week. Thanks for being here today. This means the world to me, and go Colonels.
Thank you all for joining us today to welcome your friend and mine to the team, though I know he never really left the team, because I can think of no one who exudes Colonel pride more than JT. I know he's going to lead Colonel Athletics to even greater heights than we've already achieved. Thank you, and go Colonels.
I'm gonna say this about Jonathan Terrell. Look, this athletic director right here, I think he's going to lead Nicholls State to the forefront, because Nicholls State absolutely, since the previous athletic director left for bigger and better things. I think to tell you right now, Nichols is absolutely going to be on the map, no matter what. If they win in football, they win in baseball, they win in basketball, no matter what. I think he's going to lead this program to new heights and and levels. So once again, this is from yesterday. They did announce that Jonathan Terrell will be the new athletic director at Nicholls State University, which is located in Thibodaux, Louisiana. That is across the bayou from me here in I'm in New Orleans. That's across the bayou in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Also, I think he's going to reach out to the New Orleans area as well, because New Orleans area, look, they're going to get some players from the New Orleans area. So that's one thing in common with the Nicholls State program. So once again, we will go over some news headlines. Thanks for joining us here on Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show here on this Tuesday. So let's move along to some sports headlines. We're going to go. I'm going to begin with interviews. Today, we're going to have some interviews playing. I'm going to go to Crescent City Sports. We're going to have some interviews playing. We're going to have Preston Guy playing. Preston Guy talks to All Access, and also East St. John coach Brandon Brown. So we will also have news headlines as well. So we'll begin with Preston Guy talking about LSU football and what's to come for the LSU football season here in 2020. So let's begin playing that clip.
Much to discuss, and we do so with a guy who does an outstanding job for TigerBait.com. Of course, did fine work for the Advocate previously and continues to do an excellent job in covering LSU. It's great to have Preston Guy with us. Preston, listen, thanks for joining us. I hope you're well in these unusual times.
Whew, yeah, thanks for having me, Ken. It's been a while since I've been on this show. I used to check in for the high school football games. First time since I joined TigerBait, though.
You bait, and it's great to have you, and we appreciate that. We're still doing that, by the way, so we must be an old, I don't know, 26 years or something like that. But it's been a pleasure, and love high school sports, but love what you do, always have, and great to have you with us tonight. And I guess first and foremost, I have to start, before we get into football or anything else, have to start with the latest shot across the bow from Dickie V today about potential notice of allegations regarding LSU and Arizona, and, of course, saying a source saying that they'll be notified of violations, level 1 violations, by the end of July or early August. First of all, he may be right. He may not be. I don't know. But this story, it puzzles me as to why it has dragged on so long and has taken so long to get to this stage. And it's just like, I don't know if you're delaying an execution or if you're just keeping a program in limbo and preventing that program from reaching its zenith. Where does the truth lie with this? And what about Vitale? And once again, firing away at LSU and Arizona, which he seemingly loves to do.
Well, you know what's funny is we actually wrote on the site earlier today, actually, before this was going to come out. You know, LSU is squarely in the mix for five-star center Musa Cease, right? Last time he put out the tweet, he was supposed to commit to LSU that day. And then Dickie V puts out that tweet, and of course, like any reasonable young man, he delayed his commitment and said, we'll see. What's funny is today we were getting scuttlebutt that he was going to be announcing his decision as early as tomorrow. And as soon as we catch wind of that, again, Dickie V with another tweet bomb, you know, and of course, ominous sources, you know, and the timing of this is suspicious at best. You know, it's not, you know, for those on the outside looking in, you know, it seems like, okay, it all makes sense. But for those in the know with it, you know, it kind of smells of a little bit of foul play, even though there's no, you know, you don't want to throw any accusation out there. It's one of those things where it looks like someone's messing with him. We've got sources at Tiger Bait that are telling us that his sources are within the LSU program, Dickie V sources. Now, we're not going to name names or anything like that, but it seems to me like there's somebody who's putting out some news to him with some very convenient timing.
What do we make of the staff changes that Will Wade has experienced most recently?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, what do we make of the staff change that Will Wade has had on his staff most recently?
I'm gonna be honest with you. What Dickie B is saying, it's a bunch of bullshit. He just puts out a lot of crap because he don't like LSU and stuff like that. It's just a bunch of he said, she said crap. It just appalls me what these people do about LSU. To be honest with you, look, if they would have got that guy, then hey, it would have been fine. Yeah, but they putting out a lot of allegations saying that LSU did this, did that, did this, did that. No, that's not true. If it was true, then you have to have legitimate sources. I know he has sources in the LSU athletic department, but hey, that's just he said, she said stuff. So once again, this is from Preston Guy. He was on 106.1 All Access. That's with Ken Trahan. That was on Nash 106.1. So we'll play the interview.
I haven't done too much research. I'm mostly a football guy. It seems to me like, he's done some real good things with his staff since he started there. I know he promoted Tasman Mitchell recently, and that guy's been really, really appreciated on the recruiting trail. I'll tell you that.
Visiting with Preston Guy of TigerBait.com. Again, it's 260-1061 to join in the conversation. Now, with regard to football, we turn ourselves in that direction. I found it interesting all off season to read all the national stories, and I do, and I read all the pundits and all the predictions and everything else. And the national discussion, understandably, has surrounded the likes of Clemson with everything they have coming back, although they lost a key receiver to injury. Alabama, of course. Georgia is always in that mix. Ohio State, unquestionably, is right smack in that mix. And I'm maybe missing one in there as well, but LSU's not mentioned in that. And I know LSU lost 14 guys to the draft, and they're still mentioned as maybe in the next tier. And I think that's fair. And yet, is there a lack of respect for this LSU program and what they have coming back, since there are some very good players obviously coming back?
Yeah, I was looking at this. If you look at it from the perspective of what LSU lost.
Yeah, let me say something on the national aspect. Look, the national pundits, I know they're going to say, oh, LSU is not going to be in the playoffs this year and blah, 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 blah. But the truth of the matter is they don't know what the hell is going on down here in Louisiana with LSU. They don't know. We're the only ones here in the local area that knows what's going on. We cover this team on a daily and interim basis. So that's something right there. Look, the national media doesn't know. They just go by what we talk about, what we say. So I'll be honest with you right now. I think LSU will make the playoffs this year. Absolutely will make the playoffs. The question is, how? I mean, sure, if they go with 2 losses, they most likely will get in to the playoffs. If that happens. If they have 1 loss, they most likely will get in. So that's a likely scenario right there that could happen for LSU football. So once again, we'll play the Preston Guy interview on Nash 106.1 Icon with Ken Trahan. He was on All Access yesterday, so we'll play that for you. I just wanted to come in and give my 2 cents.
didn't really get to shine last year. He was so, buried behind Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Tyrion Davis-Price. I expect him to have a bit of a breakout season. Not to mention, this recruiting class that Coach O just brought in was outstanding, even with a few late, misses there on signing day, guys who flipped on the last day. It still ended up being a top 5 class. You got guys like Elias Ricks out of California. Look for him to be your nickelback this year. 5-star guy, ball hawk, long, rangy corner. That's going to be your future number 1 lockdown corner. Okay. He's going to have to sit behind Cordell Flott and sit behind Derek Stingley Jr., who, of course, is, in my opinion, the best defender in the country. But I mean, that's solid at DB, and that's not even mentioning the highest rated tight end in the history of the recruiting rankings. Eric Gilbert should come in and immediately plug and play. So, I mean, Miles Brennan is going to have keys to the Maserati. He's going to have a defense that's ready to play ball under Bo Pelini, who I personally thought was a bit of a grand slam hire. And then, you got, offensive line is going to be some piecework. You're going to have to, find some guys to step up, especially at center. I think Coach O went on the radio the other day and said his Harvard transfer, Liam Shanahan, is going to be a big guy to fill in that hole. Because I mean he's got experience, and he said he's been taking snaps at center, and that would open up a lot of opportunities if he could take that center role, because there's not really a true center on roster currently who's ready to play. So that would be huge. But honestly, the keys to this season are how good is Miles Brennan. If he is half as good as Joe Burrow, then he'll be the second best school quarterback in school history. And that would be enough to compete for a championship. Personally, I'm looking at the team, and I see it. It's an unusual season, Ken. I mean, it's so unusual. You don't have spring practice. You don't get to see those guys. You got a lot of guys stepping into new roles, and they're having to do Zoom meetings.
So when I see this LSU football team, I see a lot of potential going on with this football team with Miles Brennan. Miles Brennan might be what we need for LSU today in 2020. That's one thing we're going to have. Look, is stability. That's one thing we have to have. And I think we're going to have it this year. I absolutely think we're going to have it this year for LSU football. So once again, I will replay the video. Preston Guy was on Nash Icon 106.1. I just wanted to come in and give my 2 cents about LSU football.
Meetings and player-led practices. It'll be interesting. My gut's telling me it looks like a 10-2 type team. I mean, the only team that LSU shouldn't be favored against is Alabama this year. So we'll see.
Visiting with Preston Guy of TigerBait.com. I agree with you. I think it's a very good team. You have 2 superb receivers, one who's the best in the country as of last year, the other who has come on strong and is healthy in Terrace Marshall. And yet there are other guys at receiver that can really make an impact. I think Trey Palmer has a chance to be very good. Racy McMahon's a big guy that's already contributed some. There's a lot to like there. You mentioned the running backs. I like that. Offensive line, that would be a question mark to me. Linebacker would be interesting, if not a question mark. Defensive line should be pretty good. Secondary should be awfully good. And then the one element that really isn't talked about very much is just how good their kicking game is. A returning punter who's good, a returning kickoff man who's excellent, a returning place kicker who had a little bit of a slump toward the end last year, but is still good. And, of course, a good return game. So the third phase of the game certainly looks to me like LSU has an advantage in that aspect against virtually everyone.
Oh yeah, that doesn't even mention on special teams the returner. They bring back Derek Stingley Jr., who's going to be returning kicks. And a lot of people are suspecting it very well might be Trey Palmer who returns kicks, because you remember Derek Stingley Jr. was very safe with the ball last year, but he did not have explosive returns like he did in high school. By the way, I got to cover in high school, and I've never seen a player dominate games like that guy did. But Anyways, so Trey Palmer was more of an explosive, shifty guy, where Derek Stingley just had the raw speed. So I think a returner, I bet you Trey Palmer takes over that role, and I could see him being a little more explosive. Cade York, as a freshman, had a very serviceable season last year, although that, like you mentioned, down the stretch, he did have a few little hiccups there, but he's a freshman. We'll see if he can become more consistent. If he's any better, he's one of the best kickers in the country. I mean, really, he's definitely in the top 10 if he gets any better at all. And then, of course, Zach Von Rosenberg, the 30-year-old punter and Twitter personality. If y'all don't follow Zach on Twitter, you got to follow him. He's hilarious. He was just steady as can be last year as a punter. I think he's the best punter LSU's had since Brad Wing. And just consistent, great placement. I mean, special teams, you shouldn't have any reason to think LSU drops off on special teams next year.
Yep, I think it's a real strength for that football team, and obviously something that's going to help them significantly. So I like where they're at. I just think they're very good. And I look at the schedule, and I'm like you. I think it's a 10-win team or better based on what we're looking at. And, in the odd years, we all know about the schedule. This year, they will have to go to Auburn. The whole Florida dynamic is in play, and Alabama's coming to them. And so it's really a trade-off every year. And the biggest aspect is the fact that their permanent opponents from the East are always the worst kind. And it's really been difficult. Of course, no Georgia, but the whole Georgia dynamic is interesting too, because here we are once again with national pundits loving Georgia. And look, I understand Georgia's a very good program. They played a national championship game recently, but LSU's beaten them the last two times they played them soundly. And Georgia continues to get picked ahead of LSU on a consistent basis. Last year, the year before, this year, that's once again the case, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's dumb what they're doing with Georgia. I think that's absolutely dumb what they're doing, picking Georgia over LSU. Anytime they beat Georgia in the Georgia Dome, they beat those guys. I mean, so why in the hell that you're going to pick Georgia over LSU? It doesn't make any sense to me. It absolutely doesn't make any sense. So that's my take on it. What's your take? You can post your comments via the Sportscaster and Twitch chat rooms. If you think I'm right, Georgia shouldn't be picked over LSU. You can post your comments via the Sportscaster. Like I said, once again, Sportscaster and Twitch chat rooms. Also, if you want to come in and video chat with us and give us your opinion, you can via the StreamYard links. The links are in the chat rooms of Sportscaster and Twitch. So we will go back to what Preston Guys said about. So we'll play this again. So let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, and I think what that ultimately comes down to is George. People have a lot of faith in what Kirby Smart's done, but I think they also now have faith in Orgeron on a level like that. But I think it comes down to that transfer quarterback, Jamie Newman. He was one of the highest graded quarterbacks in the ACC last year. And then you look at who's coming back at quarterback in the SEC. That's another reason I think LSU is definitely in a position to win 10, 11 games this year, because, it's going to be a down year for the SEC. You just can't lose big names like Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and then have Kyle Trask, who was a backup quarterback to begin last season, be your face of the conference. I mean, let's think about that. Kyle Trask is the face of the SEC conference. So a lot of people think that Jamie Newman might be the best quarterback. He might actually be better than Kyle Trask. We just got to see how it gets in that system. And we've seen a lot of quarterbacks who have immediately transferred to schools and had immediate effects. A little bit of that Joe Burrow last year, but you've also seen guys like Russell Wilson pull this off. I mean, and guys, I think there's a lot of faith in Jamie Newman compared to what else is out there. And Miles Brennan is mostly an unknown commodity. So I think that's why there seems to be a lot more. And I think a lot of people nationally haven't quite looked at what LSU is actually bringing back. Like I said, I think there's that perspective of, okay, who did I know on LSU's team? Well, I knew Joe Burrow. I knew Thad Moss. I knew Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I knew Grant Delpit, and they're all gone. And then you see 14 players drafted. Man, there can't be anything back from this LSU team. Well, I think those inside the program see, I don't know about that, partner. There's some ball players on this squad. It's one of the more talented squads we've ever seen. I think anybody who covers this program and knows the team knows it is squarely on Miles Brennan's shoulders. I mean, if he's a good player, this is going to be a darn good team.
Visiting with our friend Preston Guy of TigerBait.com. I think they're going to be good. I think Auburn will certainly be a team to watch in the West. I mean, I know they beat
like
Alabama without Tua last year, but Auburn's got a quarterback back, and they're still, even despite their defensive line losses, I like their personnel. I think that's a good team.
Well, yeah, I think Auburn. First, I'm a Bo Nix lover. Most people think he's terrible, but he was a true freshman last year. He had some flashes of just, I mean, you can't teach what he brings to the table. He's a good athlete, but that arm is something special. And now he gets Lane Kiffin to kind of tailor him in versus, someone who really didn't know quite how to tailor a quarterback in last year. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Lane Kiffin, man? I'm sitting here tripping, man.
That's okay. No worries, man.
It's been a really hard quarantine on me. I'm real sorry. Gus Malzahn, duh. But yes, no, he's gonna he's gonna have year 2 in that system, a little bit different from Gus's typical quarterback. But yeah, no, he I think he's gonna get a lot better. I think another one to watch out for is Sam Ehlinger from Texas. He's a senior now. I think Texas, a lot of people are in that this is the make or break year for old boy Tom Herman there, who I know a lot of fans listening probably wanted Tom Herman above Ed Ogeron when they were going through the hiring process. But I think they're happy with the decision at this point. But this is a prove-it year. He's got a senior quarterback, and he's got a veteran team. They do lose that really good receiver, Duvernay, who tore up for Christian Fulton this last year. But I think Texas is a tough one to watch. Sam Ehlinger might be the best quarterback they play all year.
Yeah, I do. And competitor.
Looks like it's sound low.
Tom Herman.
Bad connection.
The LSU game took a ton out of them last year. I think they went from being, in their minds, a national contender to being a 5-loss team. They never did really recover from that, in my estimation, and they're still a pretty good football team. And Herman's a pretty good football coach. But again, what you said is accurate. The concept of be careful what you wish for comes to mind, whether it was Jimbo Fisher or Tom Herman. LSU ended up in a very good place.
Oh yeah, and look, I'll throw myself under the bus. I'm very open about. I graded the Ogeron hire as a poor hire, and it turns out I actually don't know anything about football or sports for that matter. Because my God, look what he's done since he got here.
But I do know that you're very happy about that. Look, everybody was pulling for Ed because of who he is. He's a genuine guy. He's a Louisiana guy to the nth degree, looks the part, sounds the part. There's nothing dishonest about him, and you really wanted to see him succeed. Now, I did games for Comcast. I did some SEC games for Comcast, play-by-play, when Ed was at Ole Miss. And, I mean, I saw what transpired there, and now Ole Miss is not LSU, with all due respect. You can be at the top of the heap at LSU. If that happened at Ole Miss, would take a tremendous leap of faith by and large. But he was a different guy then, and therefore I had some cause for pause as well. Not as demonstratively negative as some were, but I certainly had cause for pause, and it certainly seemed like they settled when they took him, and they did. But talk about turning out great. It's been phenomenal for LSU.
Well, thus far, it couldn't have worked out any better. Yes, he won a championship in his third season like Les Miles did, But, you know, I think people look at it and they realize that this was a team that, you know, was completely built by Ed Ogeron, and he did it his way. He got very creative. I mean, he hired essentially a grad assistant off the New Orleans Saints and revolutionized, you know, his offense. Completely changed the whole perception of everything. So he did it his way. It was peculiar. It was highly questionable when you were losing to Troy, but when you're beating Clemson by 17 points in the national title, no one's questioning it anymore. So I think that people have to feel good about, you know, where the program is at this point. Very confident. And what he's doing in recruiting is, I mean, my jaw drops that he has brought this to a new level when LSU was already at a good place, especially with 2 back-to-back down seasons in Louisiana in terms of recruits. He went national with it the last couple of years, and he's doing a pretty good job.
And then finally, of course, with regard to the programs that are the top programs in the country, one of my favorite whipping boys, Colin Cowherd, had another terrible take most recently with his pronunciation that the programs that feel different are Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Southern Cal.
Yeah.
Southern Cal, who hasn't won anything since 2004. Oklahoma, who gets trashed in the playoffs every year. Ohio State, who's got elite talent, but when's the last time they won? And Alabama, for good reason, certainly belongs in there. But then the rest of his take was even more hilarious, saying it doesn't matter who coaches LSU or Georgia. With Nick Saban, they dominate the conference. Well, since Nick Saban left, and yes, he has dominated LSU, LSU's won 2 national championships under 2 different coaches last time I checked.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, what about Clemson? How in the world can he not have Clemson mentioned?
Well,
are you kidding me?
Colin is just so bad when it comes to just his college football takes. It's cringeworthy to me that, you know, he has such a voice.
I'm also going to say Colin Cowherd is the worst, just like in the NFL. He's the worst when it comes to the NFL. I mean, that's one thing about Colin Cowherd. Look, he's going to say the other team. He's not going to say about LSU. He's going to say Oklahoma and all that stuff in college football. But he's also in the NFL. He's going to say Seattle or whatever the damn thing he says. I mean, look, I don't listen to what Colin Cowherd says, and I never did, and I never will. That's one thing in common with me. I will tell you the way it is. That's how I roll here on Sports Talk. So once again, this is from Preston Guy. He was on NAS 106.1 with Ken Trahan. We'll continue to the interview with Ken Trahan. So we play that for you.
We talk about this stuff, and it's just so unwell. It's just lazy. It's not very well thought out. I mean, so one of the things that stands out to me, his reasoning was these programs, when they have a great coach, look what they do. I mean, and that comes down to, Ohio State was pretty good under Urban Meyer. Bama's pretty good under Saban. To me personally, I don't think that means much about the program. You know, what is your program doing with, you know, a guy like, you know, who most people now consider an average coach, Les Miles? LSU won a championship with Les Miles at the helm and averaged 10 wins a year. You know, and I think a lot of people look at what he was doing as very outdated, a lot of toss dives, a lot of predictability type stuff. And I think that speaks volumes to the program. You can have a guy who most people regard as an average coach and you're winning a national title with him. You know, you also have to look, you know, LSU won 3 national championships under 3 different head coaches in the last, you know, 18 years since 2003. Correct. You know, and I think, you know, so his reasoning was kind of lazy. And then, you know, one of the things I think that I think Alabama, he nailed on the head, but you have to throw recency bias when you rank programs. You want to know why? Because that 17-year-old recruit who's going to be the difference between whether your program competes for the playoffs or is, you know, competing for, you know, Circle K bowls in the next few years. He doesn't really care very much about what your program was doing in the 90s. He doesn't care about the 80s. He doesn't care about the 70s. All that stuff. It's great to show, I have X amount of championships. Okay, cool. But you know what? Ultimately, these kids watch football, and what happens during their lifetime matters. It just matters, because if they hear, okay, well, Oklahoma won it in 2000. That was let's see, 4 years before I was born. Like they're not really going to care all that much because it was pre them. So since the BCS started, 2 programs have won 3 or more championships, and that's LSU and Alabama. Okay, and during that same time frame, only 3 teams have won championships under multiple head coaches, and LSU is the only one to have 3 different coaches do it. So to me, I mean, look, you can debate all you want. I think missing Clemson was an idiotic misfire. I think missing on LSU, but I think you have to throw LSU in that top tier. I might even argue LSU's in the top, 3 programs in the country right now.
Well, I would not disagree with that. You can follow him on Twitter at PGuy_77. That's PGUY_77. Go to tigerbait.com. They do an excellent job. Preston does a fine job, and really a pleasure visiting with you. I promise you we'll do it again soon, so there isn't such a gap. Enjoy your work and appreciate you much. Keep up the great work and stay safe in this crazy situation we find ourselves in.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ken. Hey, I'm going to tell everybody out there, y'all, we have some really good stuff we're putting out. LSU recruiting is about to explode here in the next couple weeks. We got a commitment we're expecting this week. A lot of people grunting about not enough local kids with only 2 Louisiana commits. We got one coming this week, I'm pretty sure. Tigerbait.com. Y'all come check it out. It's $1 to give it a try for a week. We do have tons of free content as well, but the premium stuff on good stuff on recruits and stuff that we do have paywall content as well. Do yourself a favor if you sign up for that 1 week, hit the annual option afterward. It's $99 for a full year of high quality, great recruiting content and you only have to pay for it once a year, so your wife ain't gonna be upset with this, $10 charges once a month. You just have to deal with it once. And, it's cheaper than Netflix, and it's worth every penny.
Well stated. Good promotion. There's that commercial. We got it in for you. Appreciate it, Preston. Keep up the good work. You hear?
I'm going to tell you right now, Preston Guy, absolutely. This guy with tigerbait.com is absolutely on his game. Just like Mike Scrawball. Mike Scrawball is the lead writer of tigerbait.com. I'm going to tell you, these guys absolutely put it out there. So I strongly suggest you subscribe to tigerbait.com if you're an LSU fan. You'll get the latest on the LSU recruiting and stuff like that, and from the best writers with Preston Guy and Mike Scoreball. So please strongly. Also, you can follow him on Twitter at pguy77. That's pguy77. That's on tigerbait.com. So once again, we'll go over to another interview. Let me switch this out, and we will go to, switch it out, and we will go to East St. John coach Brandon Brown. We'll go ahead and play that video for you. That was 3 days ago, but we will play it.
Time. And how are you, my friend?
I'm well. Thanks for having me. I'm doing blessed. I'm just happy that I'm on top of the dirt, and the dirt's not on top of me. And we live in a strange time right now, and so it's very important that we stay safe. And I'm just glad I'm still here.
You sound just like me and a lot of us, for that matter. I mean, I give thanks every day I wake up, and I wake up and I'm here and I'm talking, and I get up out of bed and I say a prayer and thank the Lord, move on. So, and it's been the case for a while, but even more so now. Talk about the process, Brandon, of how this has gone and we've had a lot of coaches on, but each one has kind of an individual story. Initially, you can only gather 4 people together at one time. Now it's 25. I suspect that you're doing it at different time intervals during the day to be able to get everybody gathered. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's been kind of strange. However, I met with my staff. We've been out since March. With the COVID. But we took a different approach. We kind of try to use time wisely, and so we had weekly Zoom meetings, me and my staff, and then we kind of even went on to the kids. And so in the kids Zoom meeting when we met with our kids, our players, it had nothing to do with football. We just wanted to make sure that those guys and their families were safe, making sure that they were staying active educationally, making sure they're doing some work and just staying active. And so I think that was a really big thing for us. We was able to just keep in touch with our guys and our coaches and just make sure everyone was safe. And so when we were able to get a chance to get back, June 8th in Louisiana, Mr. Bornine said, June 8th will be the day. We're all excited, and well, here comes the hurricane. And so we kind of pushed it back to the 10th. And so, from then on, we've been having a great turnout. Like you said, we've been coming in intervals, and so just kind of we putting our guys in kind of pods. And so we got 15 guys to kind of stay together. We know the max is 25, but, we just wanted to make sure that we were safe. And so we put ourselves in pods of 15 and, have one or two coaches to kind of travel with just that pod. And things been working well. We took the approach that we wouldn't complain about it. We wouldn't complain about what we couldn't do, and we would take more individual time with individual players. And so I think it's going to really benefit us, down the road. Just the time that we're being able to spend with our guys just individually. And I told our guys the entire month of June, we wouldn't do anything football wise. So we just kind of been doing some conditioning, doing some strength training, and just doing some mental stuff. We just want to talk to our kids. We spend about 10 or 15 minutes daily, just talking to our kids, just making sure they're in a good mind frame. We had nothing happened immediately, but some kids lost some aunts, some uncles, and some grandparents, to this COVID. And so we just kind of want to, we hadn't did anything. We hadn't touched a ball the whole month. Kind of just been, getting our kids back into it mentally, before we start talking about football.
Lenny?
Coach, what do you think is going to be the key to making up for, and everybody's facing it, the fact that no one went through spring drills this year, and the time that you would have had that scrimmage you lost in there, and I know everybody gets to be able to start August 1st instead of I think it was August 11th or whatever the date is. You get that little bit of time on the front end, but that time away, what is it that you can do as a team, as a staff, to help give you, a little bit of an edge over the others because of that lost March, April, and May effective?
Well, once again, I think, the time that we lost, we kind of really spent our time, physically we weren't together, but just the mental part of it. And so, I enjoyed it, with it being and it really helped me a lot. I lost my dad in December. And so, just it gave me some time to just kind of sit back, relax and enjoy my family as well. But also, like I said, we were meeting with our coaches, meeting with our players on Zoom, and it just helped us build a better relationship and a better bond. And, as you all say, players will play better for you when they believe in you, when they buy in. And so gave us a chance to really, really meet our guys, and see them in a different light, more so than on the field. And, I think it's going to help us in the long run, just that relationship. We can expect more and get more out of our guys now because they understand us better as coaches. We understand them better as kids. And so I think just that they understand now that, it's bigger than just coaching for us. They understand that we really care about them. We really care about their well-being. We really care about their families. So, like I said, this whole time we've been back, we hadn't touched a football not one time. And so I think our guys is really, they're really buying in like, wow, this is bigger than football for coaches. With me, with it being home, I always dreamed about coming back home and dreamed about building a dynasty program, dreamed about building a championship program, but I always felt like it had to start somewhere other than the field. And this COVID gave us opportunity to start places other than the field, start in the home, start with building a relationship. And so I think it's going to help us on the back end.
Visiting with Coach Brandon Brown of the East St. John Wildcats. And Coach, as far as on the field is concerned, a solid season last year. You get to the playoffs, and of course, you're able to advance, upsetting Central in the first round. Great road win in a thrilling game, 34-30. And then you put up 29 points against Airline, but it wasn't enough against a good team there. So last year was a good season. You have a chance to build on that. I know you've got some good players returning this year. Jackie Marshall, obviously, is a guy that people are paying a lot of attention to. Willen Williams is another guy that is a very good player that people know all about. Just talk about last season and talk about.
Just a quick note, everybody. We'll have the Alvin Gentry press conference immediately following the Brandon Brown interview. So we'll have that shortly with Coach Gentry. So we will replay it. So he is on right now, but we will replay it after the Brandon Brown interview. We'll have Coach Gentry's thoughts on the New Orleans Pelicans season. So I will have that for you here on Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer Show. So let's get back to Coach Brandon Brown with the East St. John Wildcats on Nash 106.1 Icon.
Again, last season, like you said, we had a really good year, and for year two, I was very, very pleased. When you lose to, we lost to a very, very well coached team in St. James. They're state champions for a reason. And early on we lost to them, and that night I told my staff, I said, listen, nobody's going to beat St. James. They were that much better than us. They were well coached. They were fundamentally sound, and so there was nothing to hang our head about. And then we go into district and we lose to a game of Huntsville, who's a very good opponent. I just didn't think we played very well at all. Not taking anything away from them, we just didn't play well. And like you said, so we kind of get things going and then lose in the second round. And so, but again, I think as you're trying to build a program, things like that happen. You have those bumps in the road. So we just got to keep building. We talk about building a solid program, brick by brick. And so, hey, it's year 3. It's time to add another brick. And that's what I tell our guys every day. It's time to take that next step. And so we got to work extremely hard. We got to work out for us because we lost a very, very talented skill group. Our receiving core, our quarterback. On defense, our secondary, our skill, we lost a very, very talented skill group. However, I think we come back this year and we very strong up front. Defensive line, we only very, very good. Offensive line, we're going to be solid there as well. And so we have a really, really talented group. And the truth is, when I tell it to people, they're like, wow, how can you say that? But I think that the skill group that we have coming up, it's going to be better than what we just lost. And it's kind of hard to believe when you talk about losing a guy like Dante Clinton, losing a guy like Markel Auburn, losing a guy like Sean Shelby, our quarterback. But we have those young guys we have is really, really good. But here's the key. They're going to be very, very inexperienced. And so we're going to have to depend on guys like Willen Williams and Jackie Marshall to kind of lead us until those young guys can come on. And so that's kind of been our thing. And so the good thing is, with this COVID, and I talk to our coaches about it all the time. What's happening is we're developing leaders, because we have to split our guys up. We have to come in pods. We only got 50 at a time. And so we try to strategically put them in situations where Jack is not in the weight room with this group, so he can't be the leader. Will not in the weight room with that group, he can't be leader. So someone else has to step up and be that leader. And so we're really finding guys that way. And so, really this COVID is a blessing in disguise for us because we finding some guys who's willing to step up. They've been up to the challenge so far. And like I said, that's the first thing we tell them, guys, look around. It's no Jackie, it's no Whalen, it's no Marcus Jackson. All those senior guys that we're going to count on, they're not in here. I need to find a leader. And so we have some guys really stepping up to the challenge. And so I think it's going to really help us, in the long run. But again, defensively, we're going to be really, really good. I think we're going to be bigger. We're going to be faster and stronger, especially with our guys up front. We return all 4 of our guys up front. And so, and I always told people, if you can run a football and stop the run, you have a chance to be successful. So, you've got our guys returning on the offensive line and also defensive line. So I think we're going to have a really good chance.
Ken Trahan, Lenny Van Gilder with Coach Brandon Brown of East St. John. Lenny?
What is it, Coach, as someone who played there and is now back, what is it that makes high school football so special in the river parishes? I mean, I think, everyone has either won a state championship or at least has been to a state championship game. So it's not just one program or two programs. You've got 8 down there, and at different times they've all experienced the greatest level of success there is to experience in our state.
Absolutely. It's nothing like River Parish football, and I don't say that lightly. But when we talk about football, in my mind, it's the SEC of high school football. Week in and week out. You have people, like you said, year in and year out. You have guys that can contend for a state championship. Well, here's the challenge for us. I tell our kids this all the time. 1980 was the last time East St. John, the last time East St. John has ever won a championship. And I tell our guys, up and down the river, year in and year out, somebody from the River Parish is going to a championship. We're next. And that's what I told our guys. Why not us? And so that's the challenge for us. The challenge for us to show to everybody that we belong. And so in that, honestly, I want to bring back those rivalries. Being a kid here, playing here, always playing the teams like Lutcher, St. James, and so of course Destry and Hanville is in district. That's been a goal. I've actually reached out to St. James, and we actually playing together now. We're going to continue playing. I reached out to Coach Jenkins over at Lutcher, and hopefully we can get things going and we can start playing again. And I just want to, like you said, win, lose, or draw. It's going to be great football. It's going to be great for the communities, and it's nothing like River Parish football. And I feel like if you're going to be the best, you have to compete and play against the best. So that's my mindset with that. And so we want to be able to play those teams. You talk about championship ball clubs, up and down the river. And so we want to show that we belong. And so the only way you show that we belong, we get to that point where those programs are. Like I said, I have a really good relationship with Coach Robert Valdez at St. James, and we talk a lot, and I try to get some ideas and piggyback off him, and we both do the same, and we hopefully one day we can form that bond where, like you said, those 8 schools at River Parish, at some point that we all in the dome, we all in the dome, we all playing for championships, and so we're gonna get there, and I told our guys, we the little brother right now. We the one that don't have a championship. We the one that hadn't played for one in a while. It's time to change that. And so that's our goal right now. We're trying to change that and show everyone that we belong.
Visiting with Brandon Brown of East St. John. And Coach, you River Parish guy, you played at East St. John, you went to Alcorn, of course, highly successful in coaching. Talk about your experience growing up as we deal with these changes in our country right now and social justice. Talk about your own experiences, what discrimination or racism you may have faced, if it was overt, covert, if it was a lot, a little, from your perspective, as we try to educate and help everyone understand why people feel the way they do.
Well, you know what, and I'm very, very blessed and fortunate, and I tell it to my guys all the time. And so, and I don't say this to be braggadocious or boast, but, I had a unique situation. I was in a situation where I was in a home with mom and dad, and a lot of my teammates, wasn't. My dad, has always been in the church. He's a pastor of a church, until he just passed in December. And so, my situation was a little different. However, we was raised to be family. And so, like I said, my dad being in the church, he knew a lot of people, and he always taught me to help and to be a helping hand. And so that's just kind of the way I was raised, whether, white, black, blue, green, it didn't matter. And I'll give you a story. I went to my senior prom, and this place is still in the class, right on Bearterre Avenue. It's called Former Connections. Okay, the owners is Caucasian. They're white people. And so what happened was, I was in high school. It was a lady on the side of the road with a flat tire, her and her daughter. My dad pulled on the side of the road, offered to help her fix her flat. Me and him both fixed her flat. And she offered to give him money. He said, "No, ma'am, I don't need your money. I just want to help you." He said, I have a daughter and I have a wife, and I would hope that someone would do the same for me. And so he walked away. She went to our car and she came running back to him. She said, "Here you go, sir. Here's my card. My husband and I own Former Connection. If you know anybody that need any kind of tuxedo needs, just come see me. I'm going to take care of it." And he said, "Well, look, by the way, my son, he's a senior. He's going to prom." And she said, well, look, just come to my shop. We went to the shop, and everything was laid out for me, free of charge and everything. And it just, so, and I think, just a good lesson that we didn't see black or white, and we never did, and we don't now. And so, I think it's what you make it. Now, you have good cops, bad cops. You have good black people. You have good white people. You have, bad people. It's just who you are, and it's, how you make things. And so, it's a touching situation because I hate to see the state that our world is in right now. I just think it's no place for the injustice. There's no place for the racism. And I just hate that, and I hate that we're dealing with this. And at some point, we need to become a family again. No matter what color you are. And like I said, that was just a good example of something that I did with in my life. And it wasn't a bad. It was actually a good situation. And I think as a country, we can all get to those kind of situations where we lend a helping hand. And so, sadly to say, it's not the case. It's not the case right now. But again, I'm one who just don't see color. I see the kindness of people's heart. I see who people are, and I judge them for who they are, and that's the way I hope to be treated the same way. And so, that's a message I try to teach to my children. I have two kids, a 5-year and a 6-year, and I try to teach that to them on a daily basis. I also, when they step foot in the field house, I teach that to every kid that comes in the building, and not only football kids, but as the athletic director. And at a school like East St. John, I have white, I have black, I have Hispanic, and so as an athletic director, I want them to know that I am, the guy that you can lean on. I have your best interest at heart, and so I try to do a really good job. And like I said, color don't matter to me. I would do anything I can to help any person be in a better situation that they can, and so I do anything possible to help them be successful. And so that's just who I am. And I would hope that one day this world can get to that as well.
Well, I would have a follow-up question, but I think you just stated it all about as well as anyone ever could have done so. So you did too well. You don't allow reporters to follow up with good questions. What's wrong with you, man? Great summation. And I do think that if people heard that and got that memo, we'd all be in great shape. But it's a revelation of your character and who you are. And I think that speaks volumes for the respect that people have for you and why we feel the same way. Lenny, a final thought for Coach Brown before we let him get away.
I agree with what you were saying there. Not allowing not allowing a question. What do you see happening on the high school front? We've seen so much talking about college athletes and professional athletes and some of the things as obviously they are, they're more visible and more high profile and more mainstream, and some of the things that they're going to try to do to keep the name of social change and social justice out there. What are the things that you might see on the high school level, and what kind of conversations have you and your players had in that regard when it comes to this football season?
Well, I can't speak for the majority. I can't speak for the masses. However, East St. John is a program where I told my guys that this is how it's going to go. I said, as the leader of this program, you guys, and I told that to my coaching staff, they're going to go as I go. And, I'm just not, I'm about doing the right thing. And so now if there's a situation where, it could completely gets out of hand and, that there's a stance that we need to take, we will. But at this point, listen, I just want everyone to love each other. And I just want everyone to be in a situation where we can all get along and that we can all learn from each other. And so that's where we're headed with our program. And I told our guys that they have to understand that, no matter race, no matter color, no matter background, no matter socioeconomic standard, you're going to always need someone. You can always help someone, but on the other end of it, you can always need someone. So that's our mindset. And not just with racial things, just with guys in general. So, you may have this senior who's, just a great athlete that's being highly recruited, but then you have a freshman or sophomore who's not very talented. I just work ethic, and I tell it to guys all the time. I said, listen, you got to be careful, what you do and how you treat certain people, because one day that guy may be your boss. One day you may have to, go interview for a job, and that guy's sitting behind that desk. And so that's the message that I send to my guys. That's the message that I send to my program, that, you got to be very, very careful. And that's the biggest thing. You got to treat, and that's what I was taught. My dad always taught me that, you have to be careful how you treat people, because one day, like I said, he may be your boss, or he may be that person that you need for a job, or you need, when, you're going to get a home loan, he may be the lender. You never know. And so, you gotta, it's best to be careful and just treat people the right way.
Well, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's a very simple premise. And respect
Absolutely.
is something that seems to be lost right now in a lot of areas, but not here, and certainly not from Brandon Brown of East St. John. Brandon, thank you so much for the time. Keep up the good work that you do, not just coaching, but mentoring young men and with your own children. And may God truly bless you and yours. You hear?
Okay, once again, we will have Alvin Gentry's press conference. We were supposed to play it, but we are going to play it now. So let me go ahead and switch it over to the New Orleans Pelicans feed. We will set up for Alvin Gentry's press conference. So we're going to get set in just a second. Let me get it over to. We'll play back the Alvin Gentry press conference here on Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show. Let's go ahead and stop this out, and we will put Alvin Gentry's press conference on. So let me go ahead and do that. 1 second. There it is. You'll see it come up on the screen. See if it comes up. Wait for the signal to come up. Hold on 1 second. We're trying to get it to go in. Hold on, let me try to refresh it. I don't know if we got a signal. Apologize. Let's see if we can get a signal this time. I'm trying to see if we can get a signal. Just give me 1 second to switch it. Okay, Mitchie Sports, thanks for joining us. We will have the Alvin Gentry press conference in just a few moments. So I'm going to see if we can get the press conference. I'm trying to see if we can get it. I don't know what's going on. We have a low signal issue, so we're going to see if we can get it back on the screen. Apologize. So we'll see if we can get it back on the screen. Hold on 1 second. Oh, we got a signal.
I have no idea. I really don't. I mean, my plans right now is to be with the team in Orlando, and I'm looking forward to it. Really, I think that as the season was put on hiatus, we were playing really good basketball. So, hopefully we can get back to that. That's why I'm not treating it really as a training camp. I would treat it more of picking up where we left off when the season went on hiatus.
Hey, Coach, just this pandemic in general for everybody, it's just kind of like, how much risk you're willing to tolerate to do something. Just can you explain a little bit why you are comfortable, wanting to do this thing?
Well, number one, I mean, to be honest with you, these guys, we had a struggle, and you guys know. I mean, we lost 13 straight games. Usually when that happens in this league and really any other league, there's a good chance that the players just kind of quit on you. That never happened here. And so, they was in the foxhole and stood by me. I want to do the same thing for them. I want to be there for them. I want to be in Orlando, and I want to give us an opportunity to try to do well in the situation.
Alvin, do you talk to potentially knowing that it's a possibility, Chris Finch or somebody about what does happen just as a preparation if I'm not there? I mean, is it in the back of your mind, or is it something that what we're going to act as if I'm going until I'm not going?
Well, I think you cover all areas, and we've sat down and talked, and we've done things like that. But everything so far, I mean, we hit on that. But everything so far that we've talked about is that me being there and coaching the team, and exactly how we're going to play this thing out as a collective staff.
Hey, Alvin, I know you can't really speculate on what ifs, but how confident are you that the NBA is going to be able to pull this off and get all the way to the end?
Well, you'd have to hope so, and I mean, I would think that they're going through every precaution that they could possibly take, and this is brand new to everyone. This is not something that you can go back and take a blueprint from another time that it happened and figure out all the things that were wrong in those situations. This is new to everyone involved, so I know that the NBA is going to do complete due diligence, and you'd have to hope that everybody's going to cooperate with the rules that are going to be in place. And if that's the case, yeah, I think it can be pulled off.
Andrea, I know obviously plenty of players feel like they have a huge platform here with everything going on in the world, especially from a social justice standpoint. But how much do you think, just from an overarching point of view, America as a whole could really benefit from sports being back and just kind of a distraction maybe from seeing bad headlines in the news all the time, I guess?
Well, I think it can be somewhat of a distraction, but I don't think it's going to ever replace what's going on right now from a social justice standpoint. I think right now everyone is very geared in and locked into having changes happen in this country. It's been a long, long time. Someone asked me a question last week about Juneteenth, and my answer to that was, yeah, it's a heck of a day, for free and other slave, the Emancipation Proclamation, but it also speaks. It says a lot about our country, that it's been 155 years since that happened, and we made progress, but I think there's a heck of a lot more progress we can make, and it should be done obviously a lot quicker than it has been up to this point.
Coach, y'all prefer a fast-paced offense and get out and go. Are you at all concerned with guys being in good enough condition to run that type of offense still?
Well, I think that's something that we've got to obviously the first couple of days of practice, we'll be able to look and see where our guys are from a conditioning standpoint. A lot of our guys they've been working their butts off. I think that they knew that eventually this day was going to come. So I don't think we've had anyone just laying around on the couch. So I think these guys, it's within them to try to keep themselves in shape. That's what they've done, throughout their whole career. So it may not be exactly where we want to have them, but I think that all of these guys have been working pretty hard.
Hey, Alvin, Mark Medina here with USA Today. I hope you and the family have been able to hang in there during these tough times. What do you initially anticipate what coaching will be like in this setup, given no fans in the arena and social distancing rules on the bench? What kind of your initial things that you're anticipating, what those adjustments will be like?
Well, I think it's going to be something different, than any one of us ever experienced. We did a call last week, and Nick Nurse from Toronto, they were talking about playing without people in the stands, and he said half of my career I've coached with people not in the stands. I've been in the G League and the CBA, so I thought that was a pretty comical response. But I think that it's something that you will adjust to. It's going to be completely different. I do think, and Chris Finch said this, I do think your bench is going to be very important from an enthusiasm standpoint. I think that's where all the energy is going to come from. So you're going to have a really good bench, but it's going to be different in that the games are going to be up and down, and there's going to be great
Let's
plays
see if I can
made,
hear
but
it.
there's not going to be a lot of cheering or yelling or high fiving, and that's going to be different for all of these guys because I don't think anyone's ever played under those circumstances. And as a coach, I don't think anyone's coached under those
Slow.
circumstances before.
I mean, they
As
periscopes kind of sound a little
it's almost
horrible.
like
They
you're
got to turn
playing
that
against
sound up a little bit.
obviously you have very few people there in practice situations most of the time. So it's not a big change for the coaching part of it. I think it's going to be a pretty major change for the players out on the floor.
How concerned are you that things that you might say to officials and players will be?
I knew that was coming. We're going to be very nice to the officials. Okay. It's going to be in a situation. Obviously we're in a situation where everything is going to pretty much be heard. So, I think just the fact that we're back playing, and really a lot of times what you guys think are really demonstrative responses to things, it's more of a competitive situation. And the one thing I will say, we have the best officials in all of sports, and they're very, very good at adapting. And stop laughing, Carolina, okay? And they adapt to situations, okay? They really do. They give you a lot of leeway, and then when it's time to cut it off, they're very good at communicating that to you, and then we're pretty good at they're pretty good at allowing us a certain distance and then cutting it off.
Alvin, Griff talked earlier about he thinks mental toughness is going to be a key to this whole situation. How do you as a staff, you and your staff, improve mental toughness with the team? Like, what will you all talk to them about, and how will you try to address that?
Well, it's a good question, and I think one of the things that communication is going to be key. I mean, you're going to really have to be on top of things, and being isolated for a minimum of 45 days, and a maximum of almost 3 months, almost 90 days. This is something that no one's ever experienced either. So you're going to have to make sure that you're communicating with your guys. If there's something on their mind, they got to feel comfortable enough to come in and talk about it, and not just the basketball part of it, but just being in an environment where you're limited as to how you can go and where you can travel, and being really in a bubble. It's going to be different for everyone. So it's going to be a challenge, but I got to think that communication is going to be the whole key there. And if your players are at a point where this is from a mental standpoint is just wearing on them, then you're going to have to find some solutions to that.
You talked about different adjustments that guys are going to have to make. Do you have any concerns for Josh Hart that he's not going to have any fans to talk trash with during games or jaw with after he makes a three?
He does enough of that with his own coaching staff, so he'll still have something to lean back on. So no fans are there, so I guess we'll be the target of his rant and raves. Okay.
Alvin, at this point right now, do you expect all of your starters and maybe even if your bench players too? Do you expect them to make the trip to Orlando and want to play? I mean, I know right now there are some players who are 50-50, I guess you could say.
Yeah, Andrew, no one on the team has ever said that they were not going. So I think it's a situation where these guys are ready to get back into playing and ready to compete. So no one has ever mentioned that, nor has it ever come up in any of the conversations that I've had with them, on the Zoom calls or individual calls, that they would not be going to Orlando.
Hey, Coach, I've seen a couple of the guys, use their platforms and show that they've been peacefully protesting over the last few weeks. I think some of the young guys, Jackson, Drew, Derek Favors. What have your conversations been like with just your players over the past few weeks and months about just the moment that we have right now in America?
Well, that's a good question also, and I think what we've talked about is that the opportunity that it presents for all of us, really, to be able to speak up, to be able to speak out. We talked a lot about some of the situations that have happened, and I'd have to say that I was involved in a protest march here with my son, from City Park down to the precinct. I think it was the precinct or one of those, and I'd have to say that it makes you proud of New Orleans the way everything has been handled here with the protests, from the standpoint of it being peaceful protests and trying to communicate and educate and things along those lines. So the guys have talked about that, and obviously they have a platform with social media and the Players Association in general. But I think it's a situation where, and we've talked about this a lot, where it's about communication and education. And, maybe it's time to have a tough conversation with one of your friends that you guys kind of avoided. It's been great because my son, he's had a lot of conversations with his friends that he went to school with at Newman. And, and for a lot of those guys, they just said, I didn't know. It's not that I didn't care, but I just didn't know. So I think educating and having conversations and being able to talk to each other and being able to ask questions is what our guys are trying to also implement in their voice that is going to be heard in these situations.
Alvin, what kind of challenges does the format when the season resumes present as far as roster depth? Not just maybe for your team, but for all the teams.
Well, it's going to be interesting because it's been a long time since the guys played, their last game. So it's going to be interesting from a conditioning standpoint where they are. But I don't anticipate any team playing guys long extended minutes. And I think especially in the first 3 scrimmage games that we'll have, I think you'll see coaches try to find out exactly where the conditioning is with their team, and then try to get the timing back, among other things. We're really not going to be able to have any practices until we get there, being 5-on-5 situations. So I think those 3 games, you'll try to figure that out. And then the rotations, I think, will be a little deeper with the bench, in that, we're playing 8 games, really 11 games if you think about it. And that's coming back from really a long, long while. So I think we'll have to keep an eye on those situations.
How would you say that the Pelicans' depth, how do you expect that to be going into this relative to the previous portions of the season? I know there may be a few guys you might have a chance to get back, and then there's the two-way players. Talk about that a little.
Yeah, I think that, our depth was beginning to show, before this thing happened. We had played really good basketball on the road. And I think more so than our depth, I think our starters and Zion and those guys were beginning to feel the chemistry, and their roles were so well defined by themselves, really, that we were playing really good basketball. And we had guys coming in off the bench and understanding that they may play 5 minutes, they may play 3 minutes, they may play 10 minutes. And I think the most important thing for our guys, they've come to the understanding that winning is the number one thing, and all the other stuff would have to be put on the back burner. And I thought we were headed in that direction and playing good basketball.
Alvin, what's your reaction to the NBA, finalizing these standings with, winning percentage? And obviously that could take away head-to-head with some of those teams like Portland that you're going to be battling with. What was your initial reaction to that?
We talked about this. I'm on the advisory committee. We talk a lot about how all of this is going to work when we get back. And I think the one thing you got to understand that there was no way that they could ever come up with a plan that was going to be satisfactory to everyone, or being fair to everyone. I think they worked their butts off to try to come up with a situation where it was going to be as fair as they could possibly make it. It gave everyone an opportunity. I do agree with the fact that Memphis was already in the playoff situation, so they should have an advantage. I don't think you can argue with that. So I think what happens is that the teams that were going to be down there just wanted to have a legitimate chance to be involved in a situation where they had an opportunity to make the playoffs. And I think the NBA have presented that, and that's all you can ask for. So everything else is going to be really left up to the coach and the individual team as far as trying to get there and get involved in the playoffs.
Hey, Alvin, if I could have a moment of levity. I know last year you joked that, look, you worked for Donald Sterling. Last year you joked that the whole thing with Anthony Davis would be a chapter in the book. You've seen a lot of crazy things in the NBA in your time. Does this, maybe take the cake through lockouts and owners and trade demands and everything? This is more of a life and death situation, but nonetheless, another unprecedented situation that you're a head coach in dealing with in some capacity.
Yeah, I think, Fletch, I think everyone, this is different from everyone, unless you're, closing in on 100 years old or so, from the last time that this happened. It is different than anybody anticipated. It's, even look around the city, it's different for the restaurants, different for stores, different for everybody. And it's the same throughout not just the country, but the world. So this is something that no one has a manual as to how to navigate this in any kind of way. So I think what has to happen is that, number one, we have to try to be smart. I think we all have to try to do our parts to keep everything as safe as we possibly can. And then, the whole social distancing thing and all of that, it plays a huge part in us being able to at least get this under control. So, yeah, it's different for me, but this is the one time where I can say it's different for everyone that's involved in the NBA and throughout the whole country and the whole world. Really.
What's the status now of some of the guys who weren't playing when the season stopped, who were theoretically on pace to be better by now, like Kenrich and Darius?
Well, they've been working, and they've been working extremely hard. So, we get back and we get practice times, before we play, and you'll have to evaluate your team quickly and try to put them back together and try to get them to the point where the chemistry is still there. And, what you do in these situations, as I did and a lot of coaches did, is that you go back and you review all the games and you look at things that you may want to change a little bit, or something that you may want to add, or something that wasn't very efficient that you want to take out. So those are all the things that happen in these situations. So, but I think guys continue to work and try to get better.
And, are there any restrictions? And obviously it was a big story with Zion, playing time restrictions, and because of the format and so forth, and the value he has to the franchise future. Any discussions about that when the season?
We're not going to go down and play guys 40 minutes. That doesn't make sense, I don't think. And we'll have a gauge. Obviously we got a tremendous medical staff. We've already communicated with them, and we'll talk to the players, and but we'll try to do what's right as far as being competitive, giving us an opportunity to win. But obviously, we're not going to risk anything as far as long-term future with players that's going to be an integral part of our franchise.
Do we have any more questions for Coach Gentry?
Breaking 100 on a regular basis.
Yeah, I go by that great house on my way to the golf course every day. That mansion, right there on Fillmore. It's pretty impressive, okay?
Fillmore and Argonne, to be correct. Yes, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's it, guys. God, it's good seeing everyone. It really is, and I'm looking forward to just getting this thing going again. It's been a long, long wait. I've been here the entire time.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a lot into this. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. Look, the future of this team is absolutely bright. Look, Zion Williamson, he's going to play. He's going to play his minutes. He's absolutely going to play his minutes because, look, to be honest with you, look, I don't want to see Zion get hurt in this situation and stuff like that. So I hope. I mean, he's not going to play for everybody 40 minutes down the line. So that's out of the question. So I'm ready for the season. So once again, this concludes today's Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show. We will be back later on with the Sports Time New Orleans Sports Podcast with the American Conference preview. We will preview what's to come for the American Conference in college football in 2020. So we will have that tonight. Also, just a note, if we do get the minor league baseball Board of Trustees are meeting today to see if they're going to cancel the season or not. If we don't have a game tomorrow night, we most likely will have wrestling tomorrow night. We'll have Elevate 8 Pro. That'll be that's an independent wrestling organization here in St. Bernard Parish. We will replay that their episode from last week, so we will have that tomorrow night. If you tune in to Sportscaster, we will have that for you tomorrow night. If we don't have minor league baseball, that's what we'll do. That's how we're going to do it. So everything's up in the air. So once again, thanks for joining us. We'll be back later with the podcast. Once again, like, share, and follow Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show here on Sportscaster. That's at KLW. Follow me there. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Sports Talk 2505. Sports Talk 2505 is the address. Also, you can follow me at facebook.com/Kerry.Wehmeyer. Excuse me, let me get this off my face. Dot the number 75. Also, you can follow me on my YouTube channel. That's on my YouTube channel on YouTube. Also, you can follow me on my email me anytime at kerry.wehmeyer@yahoo.com. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me. Also, you can follow me on Twitter. That is Talk Kerry, TALK, KERRY. That's underscore KERRY. So that's what we're a lot of stuff that you can follow me by. Also, you can follow me on my Tumblr account. That's Tumblr. That's www.tumblr.com/blog/KLW7825. That's on the screen. So that is the web page and also the blog site for Sports Talk with Kerry Wehmeyer show. So that's where you can go if you will have blogs and stuff like that. And also the video that we have today will be posted there. So please give us a follow. So once again, everybody have a good rest of your Tuesday afternoon. And we'll be back later for Sports Time New Orleans Sports Podcast here on Sportscaster. And also we'll be back on Twitch. So everybody have a good rest of your Tuesday afternoon.